If you're anything like me, you've now spent a lot of money on a new bike, new bags for your bike so you can go bike packing, and doesn't leave a lot of room in the budget for anything else. Well, in this video, I'm gonna talk about 5 items. I know I just held up 10 fingers, but 5 items that are going to lighten up your pack on a budget. So all these items I'm gonna show are under $20, and they're things that you could add to your existing kit or replace items that might be heavier in your kit already. So let's get right into it.
Some of the gear discussed in this video is so light and so cheap that it could be considered trash. So please practice leave no trace when you're out bikepacking in the backcountry. Keep the wilderness wild for all of us so we can all enjoy it.
Ultralight items that are also ultra cheap. Item number 1. They're just ordinary coffee filters, but I actually use these to replace rags. So I don't know about you, but I do not want to carry stuff like this in my pack. Not to mention it adds to bulk and weight, and what are you gonna do with it after it gets saturated? Coffee filters work just as well. They're better than paper towels because they don't leave a lot of lint on your components and things like that. So yeah, I'm just basically use these to wipe down my chain. I've used these without degreaser, and they tend to work pretty well. You can get these in between the crevices of your cassette and just generally wash your bike up. When I'm done with them, I either just chuck them in the bin or burn them in a campfire, anything like that to get rid of them. So yeah, I don't carry rags anymore. I just carry these. I picked them up along the way at donut shops and coffee shops. They're pretty abundant. You can find them out there. Pretty much free, much lighter than rags, and they won't get your stuff all greasy after you've cleaned everything up. And I know I've talked about these before, but they are umbrella bags. You're probably wondering what I use these for. I talked about these in my other video about vapor barrier layers. If you haven't checked that video out, there's a link to it down in the description below. But even the pros use plastic bags to keep their feet warm. So that's essentially what I use these as. I use them as socks. And I'll have my sock, put this over like that, boom. You've added 5 to 10 degrees of warmth. Impermeable, so it's not gonna get any outbound layers outside of this wet. They definitely keep your feet a lot warmer in really cold conditions. I'm gonna show a short clip from the Lael Wilcox film, I Just Wanna Ride, where they showed a few clips of the pros using sandwich bags, plastic bags to do this very thing. So if it's good enough for the pros, it's good enough for us mere mortals. All the various sizes work. This one is kind of like the mini umbrella bag version. These are so lightweight, they barely even register on my scale. This is what a pair of them breaks down into. So I usually will carry a backup pair just in case something happens, I rip through them. But for the most part, one pair of these lasted me the entire Pacific Coast Highway, and I just carried these as a backup. Never even needed to use them. They're definitely gonna be worse for wear at the end. These ones have seen these ones have seen 500 miles or so. They're starting to get a few holes, but they work just as well. All right, while we're talking about pieces of clear plastic, the next item on my list, item number 3, Polycro ground sheets. And I picked up these from Gossamer Gear, which is the same place that I picked up the trekking poles for my tent. They sell really good, high quality trekking poles. Highly recommend Gossamer Gear. Just check out their site. Lots of cool little valuable tidbits on there. But anyway, this is another item that will last you an entire tour. They're extremely durable for what it is. So these Polycro ground sheets are 46 grams each, which is really light, considering probably about the same weight as a Dyneema composite fabric for a fraction of the cost. The price has come up a little bit on these, but this one for a 2-pack was $9, I believe. So $10 for 2 and that's pretty good in my opinion. These are also a good add-on item. If you have a really thin ground sheet, this is a 0.75 millimeter Dyneema composite fabric internet, sorry, not to be confused with internet. This is an internet for my Mountain Laurel Designs tent. This is a good add-on item underneath that to protect the 0.75 millimeter ground sheet. So the next item or items would be cordage. Cordage has so many uses, too many to really name, but I will talk about it really quickly and the different types that I use. First of all, this is paracord, sometimes referred to as 550 cord. And it's called that because of the amount of weight that it can support. In my opinion, the best thing about this cordage is that it can be broken down. The inside, it's got a lot of little fibers. So if you're looking for versatility in that sense, this is a good choice, but it's a lot heavier than this stuff. And this stuff is Spectra cordage. And this is what comes with the Z-Packs Bear Bag kit. This is 50 feet worth. And you can see here, that's what 50 feet of paracord looks like. And this is what 50 feet of the Spectra cord looks like. So it's about the same, but this packs down a little bit smaller than that. So again, more uses than I can really name. This was the 50-foot piece that I took on the entire Pacific Coast Highway ride. And I've used this as laundry line. I've used it actually as a makeshift bike stand. You can like hang your bike from a tree with this, and then you can tune your drivetrain, you know, hang it off the ground and tune your drivetrain with it. So that was a really cool little hack that I've used. Again, the primary use for this type of item is to hang your food from a tree, and that's really important to avoid, you know, critters getting into your food at night, protecting the food that you have. Again, practice proper food storage in the backcountry. It's just a very basic thing. Sometimes when you go to even established campgrounds, they don't have proper food storage for the hiker-biker kind of area. So there were plenty of times that I had to use this, plenty of times where there were bear sightings that the camping staff was telling you, please hang your food. So you probably want to carry at least a 50-foot piece of some kind of cordage with you. I highly recommend this cordage. So despite being only 1.7 ounces per 50 feet, this cordage can hold 1,000 pounds compared to this cordage, which can hold 550 pounds. This is a hell of a lot heavier and bulkier compared to this. So yeah, there it is. I also carry a couple other types of cordage. This is guy line cordage. It's another type of very small Spectra cord. This is the type that Z-Pack ships as their guy line. Very small stuff. Also, I never really knew about this. Can hold quite a bit. And yeah, nothing more to really say.
So the last and final item in my 5 ultralight, ultra cheap items is this stuff. And what these are tenacious tape gear patches. And I usually carry one of every fabric type in my kit. Obviously you can use duct tape as well, but this stuff actually is gonna be your sewing essentially, because you can't really sew a lot of the waterproof gear that you get. So seat packs, a lot of the Apidura bags, Ortlieb, all those types of brands where it's a really, all the seams are taped on it. So you have to use this tenacious tape to patch that. And it happens in a fraction of a second. If your bag is to hit your back tire when your back tire is going like, 40 miles an hour, it just rips right through it. So I've had that happen on really bumpy ground, especially if you're riding off-road. It's inevitable that unless everything's packed up really, really tight, you might get a little bit of bag rub. And there's patches on a lot of my bags that have held up for quite some time. So I've even patched my cycling shoes with these. I got the Gore-Tex version here for some of my jackets and any of the really, waterproof, breathable fabrics. They have this Gore-Tex version. I also carry a Dyneema composite fabric version. You can get these small lengths from Z-Packs and a few other places, but have a couple of the different colors. This is like the green one versus the white one. I've got some stuff sacks that are more tape than sack at this point. But this stuff really works in a pinch and will save you having to go back into town to, rig up some sort of a repair on something. So these are really cheap and will save a lot of frustration on the road. That's pretty much it for me, guys. Consider subscribing and just leave a comment to let me know you care. It takes a lot of work to make a lot of these videos. I work full-time. This is not my full-time gig. I am not sponsored by anybody. I have not gotten any of this stuff shipped to me for free. I paid for everything with my own money. So this is all for the bikepacking community, to make this community a better place and to just get out there and ride and see the places before wildfires happen. Yeah, if there's any other lightweight, ultra cheap, ultralight items in your kit, leave me a comment below. Let me know any other kind of tips that you've come up with in your adventures. So thank you very much. Get out there and ride, and peace.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys with one bonus item here, and it is these little droppers. I would say repackage all your lubricants. I've even packed some Dr. Bronner soap in these. They're just really, really handy on the road, really cheap, and it'll save you a lot of weight and bulk in your pack. For instance, if I was carrying a big bottle like this versus a little bottle like this little bottle is gonna last you 500 miles or more of lube. I mean, probably even more than that. Probably close to 2,000 miles of chain lubricant can fit in this small bottle. So yeah, don't carry an entire jug of Dr. Bronner's or anything like that just because you can't find these. Buy 5 or 6 of these. They have them on Amazon, they have them on Gossamer Gear's site, they have them on a bunch of different sites, but really handy from that to that.